Hello everyone, Ace here, and today let's talk about how Short Fat Otaku decided to defend PDF files on his Discord server, so long as they weren't PDFing on the server itself and were only doing it elsewhere. By PDFing, I believe most are aware of what exactly I mean. And yes, this is amazingly a take that Dev did originally make, though I will mention that he tried to walk it back, albeit in one of the most pathetic displays I've seen in a very long time, and in a way that completely contradicts himself, all because his ego is too inflated to allow him to openly admit that yes, he was in fact very wrong. This whole mess was exposed by Mach, who for the record happens to be Uzulu's girlfriend, who presented a tweet simply stating it presented without comment, which included this video clip.
If I knew for sure that someone on my server was trying to diddle kids, then I'd ban them like 100%. Yeah, but like, off your server though? Hey Dev, what's up? Hey Holznader, what's up? Like, if none of it was happening in your spaces, it just, I don't know. It feels wrong to me.
So yeah, Dev is stating here that he wouldn't ban PDF files for activities that they did off of the Discord server, even if he was presented active proof and knew 100% for a fact that they were indeed PDF files. And not only that, but also that they were, without any question or doubt whatsoever, actively attempting to groom kids. So long as it wasn't done on his server, he doesn't care. You know, completely ignoring the fact that such individuals engaging in such activities that you know for a fact they are engaging in are a legitimate safety issue for people that are on the server, particularly those that aren't of age. Now, admittedly, this was indeed a cropped clip, and typically I would provide clips with full context, because there's always the chance that whatever was said was taken completely out of context to the point of being blatantly dishonest. That possibility, however, flew completely out of the window the moment that Dev decided to double down, as Dev responded with his own quote tweet where he claimed that he didn't ban people from his community for stuff that they do outside of that community, although he would at least be willing to call the cops, if not outright ban a PDF file for their activities, so long as those activities are off the server. It is of note, for the record, that when Dev claims that he does not ban people for their activity outside of the server, that is a bold-faced lie. To provide just one example, he banned me personally from his Discord server exclusively because I humiliated him in a debate on Twitter, which is off the server. So yes, the claim that he does not ban people for off-server activity, that's a lie, plain and simple. Even ignoring that though, the sheer fact that Dev's position here is that PDF files don't have to eat a ban hammer so long as they do their PDFing outside of the server is a pretty atrocious take on Dev's part that greatly calls into question the safety of the server members, even if Dev wishes to call the cops in these sorts of situations. If the behavior you know about is enough to warrant calling the cops, then at that point maybe letting that person stay in your private Discord server is not a good idea. Naturally, people started calling out Dev on this particularly bad take, which is when he decided to try to backtrack, but unfortunately, instead of simply admitting that he was wrong and an idiot for having the bad take, Dev's ego once again got the better of him. And so he instead endeavored to contort himself into as much of a pretzel as possible in a statement that completely contradicts his own position, as when Van Thany responded by stating, quote, "Listen Dev, confirmed pedophiles should be the exception to that rule, especially if you know you have minors in your server." Dev responded by stating, quote, "I ban minors for being minors, and to be honest, I would just probably arbitrarily ban pedos out of personal disgust. But it wouldn't be for anything they did outside of my community, no." So here's why that statement by Dev is complete and utter nonsense that absolutely contradicts itself. If Dev knows for a fact that a person is a pedophile, how would he know that outside of evidence existing either on the server itself or outside of the server? Evidence that, mind you, would be a direct product of the actions of said pedophile. The simple fact of the matter is Dev would have absolutely no way of knowing if it were not for said evidence, and said evidence would not exist were it not for the actions of said pedophile. In this way, there is no disconnecting Dev's decision to ban someone out of disgust for what they've been exposed to be. There is no disconnecting his decision to do that from their actions outside of the server. With that analysis in mind, it is very clear that Dev's statement here is simply a pathetic attempt at walking back while simultaneously attempting to protect his oh so important ego from ever admitting that he was actually wrong. A very clear reoccurring theme for Dev, which inevitably has a habit of making things worse for him in the end. Speaking of things becoming worse for Dev then decided to try to snap back by accusing Uzalu, who happens to be Matcha's boyfriend, of being a pedophile, and her of being a pedophilia victim. Dev later claimed that this was a joke, but apparently it was also a joke that Dev was so confident about that he needed to actively explain it even to his most ardent supporters on the Discord server. Because nothing screams confidence about your sick burn than needing to provide a leftist meme worth of writing just to explain said sick burn. All I'm going to say is that if we are to assume this is an attempt at comedy by Dev, then it is a pretty incompetent attempt at comedy, to say the very least. It's also worth noting that when some people were actually starting to take the joke seriously, people that happen to support Dev, he didn't exactly take much time to explain to them that it was a joke, and that the only people that he was bothering to actively inform it was a joke were people that weren't exactly thrilled with his comments. But since we've gone to the root of talking about perverts and scumbags that may or may not be on Dev's Discord server, I believe now's the perfect time to talk about a recurring theme I've noticed among some of Dev's strongest defenders. To provide one example, let's talk about Foodshops, one of the very few Dev defenders who decided to try to make videos to counter my videos talking about Dev. You might remember Foodshops as being that one individual who kept repeatedly asking for proof over and over and over again immediately after being shown proof. Foodshops was also the exact same individual who went full Uncle Ruckus while being a guest on Dev's election night livestream. I bring Foodshops up due to a back and forth that we had back in early November in the days leading up to the election night. Specifically, I noticed a tweet where Foodshops had argued that Trump supporters are worse than pedophiles, which in other words, Foodshops was arguing that pedophiles aren't as bad as Trump supporters, and that at least pedophiles are not Trump supporters. Needless to say, this was a take that I was rather critical of. But Foodshops, who by the way is a self-described pedophilic obsessive-compulsive disorder, meaning Foodshops is paranoid about the idea of being a pedophile, but totally not one, guys. Anyways, Foodshops decided to respond to this criticism by announcing a plan of deliberately going and hanging out with children as a sort of gotcha, because such a plan will surely guarantee that Foodshops beats any and all allegations. Now, I would love to show you exactly what Foodshops said, word for word, but unfortunately, and as you may have no doubt noticed, the Foodshops Twitter account no longer exists. And for the record, neither does the YouTube channel, as both were mysteriously taken down in the weeks following this back and forth. But worry not, because Foodshops is not the only Dev defender that I'm going to briefly go over. Another one that just so happened to be the person that talked Foodshops into covering my videos is a person known as Devil Aspiring, aka Aspiring Devil. And to talk about what Aspiring Devil is willing to defend, as well as try to support, we have to talk a little bit about Lilith, who on October the 3rd of 2023 decided to provide a quote tweet response to Seamus when Seamus claimed that it was sexual assault for a trans man to pretend to be a cis woman in order to sleep with people under false pretenses. In other words, using deception to gain false consent. For the record, Seamus was 100% correct in his assessment that this was indeed a form of sexual assault, and I responded to Lilith openly stating such. The responses I had received included 3 different people, all trying to desperately argue that this isn't real rape, bro. And therefore there is nothing wrong with this, in their eyes. My responses also included one additional individual, Aspiring Devil, who claimed that literally no one was denying that this was rape. You know, completely ignoring that literally every single other person responding to my tweet was denying that it was rape. I then noticed and promptly pointed out that Aspiring Devil not only knew of the existence of these pro-rape tweets, but was actively liking some of them as well, making it very apparent what his actual positions were. In practice, Aspiring Devil is a pro-rape advocate. Aspiring Devil defends rape so long as it is done under the correct conditions. Those conditions apparently being trans cells attempting to get laid with people who would say no if they knew otherwise. For the record, this exact position led to the exposing of other dev defenders, such as Mars and Existential Robot, as also being rape lovers. Once again, with both of them trying to claim that it's not real rape if you lie to get false consent. And even when presented with actual examples of people getting convicted and sent to prison over this, they chose to simply mock the very idea, as well as demean the victims of such crimes. For what it's worth, I will say that not everyone that is a dev defender has also chosen to defend rape, and I'm also going to say that I don't believe in guilt by association, meaning that I don't think that Dev himself is pro-rape just because a sizable portion of his fandom happens to be. Particularly, it seems, when it comes to those most fervently in his defense. My goal here is not to associate Dev with them. I am going to point out that since Dev believes that he should ban people he finds morally reprehensible, oh, and for the record, he has admitted that he'll do this for people he politically disagrees with, such as, for example, National Socialists, then surely individuals who are as morally disgusting as rape lovers should be more than enough to draw his ire and his absolute disgust, regardless of whether or not they're among his most staunch defenders. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.